Welcome back to my channel, Rich People. Now, today we're going to talk about financial freedom. And I don't mean financial freedom in the nebulous, fuzzy sense. I mean how you can actually calculate how much money you need to be financially free. These are going to be some useful ballpark numbers that'll tell you how much you should be attempting to accumulate. I think that this is a number pretty much everyone who ever wants to retire from paid labor should know, because it's a little bit like what you plug into the GPS before you start a road trip. If you don't know where you're trying to go, it's probably going to be kind of hard to get there, right? Now, the good news is that all you need to figure out your broad ballpark financial independence number is how much you spend. Though if you want to do a more in-depth calculation, you're going to have to know a couple more things, like how much you currently earn, what you are investing every month, and how much you currently have invested. Fortunately, these are all numbers that you can know with certainty. They're pretty black and white, but there are also some assumptions you're going to have to make too, like how your income is likely to change in the future, what rate of inflation you want to account for, what types of average returns you want to expect that you're going to get, and the effective tax rate that you need to be factoring in. Now, in my own life, I prefer to be just a little bit conservative with these numbers. So I expect to get a 3% annual increase in income, that my spending will go up by about 4% per year, and then I'll get 8% average returns in the market before inflation. I also use a 20% effective tax rate. Now, I am cautiously optimistic that this is going to make my timeline look longer and slower than it actually will be, but I think that that's better than the alternative. And one quick thing on the note of average returns. It is probably important to state up front that all of the magic math that we're going to be talking about today hinges on some research a la the 4% rule. We will link an interview that we did with the CFP, Bill Bengen, who discovered the 4% rule, in the description of this video. But the long and short of it is, what the money is invested in matters. Your asset allocation is very important to your outcomes here. By the time you're drawing down your funds, you probably need to be somewhere in the range of 50-50 stocks and bonds and 75-25 stocks and bonds in a diversified portfolio of low-cost index funds. If you deviate too far from that framework, things start to break and it doesn't really work the same way. Now, for most people, this either means they're taking on too much risk, as in they're in 100% Tesla stock, or they are way too safe and they're sitting on 60% cash. Both of those are mistakes that would render the research and the things that we're talking about today moot. So first, we'll start with the easy way to calculate this number. As I said, you only need to know how much you spend in order to do this. All you have to do is multiply your annual spending by between 25 and 33. This is a useful range. And if you want to go more conservative, you can lean more on that 33 times multiplier. If you're cool with really following the 4% rule research to a T, you can go with the 25 times multiplier. For example, if you currently spend $6,000 per month, you'd multiply that 6,000 by 12 to get the annual amount, and then multiply by 25. That's going to give you your lower bound, or about 1.8 million. If you want to see what the more conservative withdrawal rate would be, you'd go 6,000 times 12 to get the annualized spending times 33. Which is going to get you about 2.4 million. So you know that the range that you're looking at is between 1.8 and 2.4 million dollars. That's going to allow you to spend, theoretically, $6,000 per month, adjusted upward for inflation every year in perpetuity, because your spending is going to be roughly equivalent to 3 to 4% per year of that portfolio value. Now, this realization alone is basically what got me interested in personal finance to begin with, because I was like, oh my God, there is a critical mass that you could hit where beyond that, you're done. The money is going to replenish itself faster than you're spending it, which is amazing. Now, a few things to note. Obviously, you kind of got to account for lifestyle changes. You're probably spending a lot less as a single 23-year-old than as a married parent of 4 children. But by estimating conservatively, like I mentioned earlier, you can give yourself a healthy buffer. And remember, you're really just trying to figure out how big an investment portfolio needs to be to create the cash flow that you need that can support your lifestyle in your post-work life. So you might have different priorities and responsibilities in the future than you do right now. You might not have to account for all of the spending that you have right now, depending on the stage of your life that you're in. And if you live in the US, you also have to plan for healthcare, which is super fun. So in my opinion, it can be nice to just pad that number a little bit. Again, just err on the side of being a little more conservative than you think you might need to be. But this is a good reason to check in with this number every year. This calculation is not necessarily a one and done thing. It can be a moving target, and you might be progressing on that timeline faster than you were even planning on if you started conservatively. So be sure to check in at least annually just to see how things are going. And if you're having a hard time determining what save rate is right for you, as a general rule of thumb, if you're starting with $0 invested, these are the timelines that are associated with various save rates. Now, there is a more intricate way to calculate your financial independence number, which is why I built a financial independence tracker calculator into every single wealth planner, starting with the 2023 edition. This calculator basically takes all of the parameters that we just talked about, and it projects what your actual inflation-adjusted financial freedom number is likely to be, what your spending will be, and what year you're likely to hit it based on your current income, investments, and spending behavior. Now, the real benefit, I think, of taking this to the next level, and what I'm using is basically a tricked out future value formula in Excel with this financial independence philosophy layered on top of it, is just to see how your current decisions are impacting your timeline very easily. For example, I might notice that I'm 30 years away from financial independence based on my current saving behavior, but that if I can save and invest an additional $200 per month, I can move up that timeline by 3 whole years. That is a really solid, actionable insight, right? Because now it makes the value time trade-off extremely tangible. Do I want to be financially free 3 years sooner, or do I want to continue spending $200 per month? Depending on the amount of discretionary stuff baked into my budget and how much flexibility I have, how much I like my job, my answer might vary. And that's it. That's all you have to do. So we'll link to the wealth planner and a few other resources about the 4% rule research in the description of this video. And keep an eye out for other personal finance fundamentals videos here on my channel. Bye.